So, welcome to another edition of Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. I'm Andrew. I'm joined by Zachary from the band Age of Athena. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I know the album Gate to Oblivion was released on the 17th, so 2 days ago. So it's already out. People can get it. I had the privilege of listening to the album myself, and
Great.
and it's great. I mean, it's great. What I really like about, sometimes you hear labels of bands and you sort of assume the album is going to be formulaic to fit whatever label you've heard. So
hmm
going into it, I sort of thought, okay, Age of Athena, they've been tagged with more of a symphonic metal thing, so that's what I'm going to get. And what I was pleasantly surprised about was how much variety there was, with everything. So I just wanted to get that out there right off the bat. That for me, whereas you could certainly label it symphonic metal to try and help it, categorize where it fit, there's really a lot more going on. Um,
Yeah, it's really interesting because our keyboard player was the heavy symphonic metal guy, and we kind of say symphonic metal because there are lots of orchestral writing, large orchestrations, and keyboards and things like that. But some of the music, because I'm more into like American metalcore and that kind of stuff. So my influences, the whole Warped Tour scene from 10 years ago, Avenged Sevenfold, Killswitch Engage. So you kind of mesh that kind of riffage, American style playing and just mix it in with orchestrations. So it's like symphonic metal, maybe. Symphonic metalcore, we say, maybe. You
yeah,
know,
I always say that these terms exist so people will have things to argue about. And I guess it does help if you're going to classify, give somebody some suggestions like, oh yeah, well, what's this music like? You can just say a quick, but but it really runs the spectrum, like you had said, from sort of light operatic vocals to harsh growling vocals to all the sort of riffs that you would want in between. There, there's blast beats, there's keyboards. The early 80s and 90s Queensryche came to mind at one point when I was listening to some of it. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm always on the lookout for music that I can that's accessible, that I can share with friends and say, you may not, when you hear the genre, you may not jump to listen to this, but you should give it a chance because there's something for everyone. So that would be my suggestion for people who are watching this or listening. If you're interested in any of the music we've talked about, you know, from progressive to gothic to death metal to symphonic metal and everything in between, you're going to get elements of that in this album, Gate to Oblivion. So, and I guess that's probably from the combination of musicians in the band, having different influences.
Yeah, I like what you said. It You said music being accessible. Our music isn't the most accessible mainstream because there are harsh vocals and there aren't that many more mainstreamy poppy kind of songs. But like you said, lots of influences from progressive or symphonic or metalcore. We've just over the weekend we've been hearing comments I post replying to my Facebook being like, cool, because there's like a trade-off solo section in Dance with the Devil, guitar, keyboard, guitar, keyboard. People are like, cool, we get like some Dream Theater vibes. I'm like, that's like, such a compliment to receive. And then other people are like Killswitch Engage or Bullet for My Valentine, even Bring Me the Horizon, which are one of my favorite bands. I'm like, it's like kind of cool to hear your favorite bands
Sure.
in sentence.
Yeah, I mean, what's also great is that the album is something where you can listen to it. You should listen to it more than once and pick up on these nuances. Um, I listened to everything, and once I realized it wasn't going to be formulaic, that it wasn't going to be like, okay, the tracks 1 through 9 are all very similar, but they were all really different. It was difficult to actually come up with adjectives to sort of describe it in an all-encompassing way. Um, which I have to give you guys credit. Not only are the vocals radically different, from each song. There's one or two songs at least with, it would go from operatic sort of clean singing to growling vocals and then back again. And like you mentioned, this sort of Dream Theater style trade-off between the keyboards and guitars. So really, if you're a fan of just good music, I would say go pick up this album and then unpack everything that's going on. But yeah, it's what's great is it's accessible to people who just want to listen to music, and then for the diehards who can sort of recognize, like, oh yeah, this sounds similar to some of my favorite bands in these other genres. So it's really a great album to sort of give someone who's a beginner to let them get a chance to sort of get a feel for other music, and for somebody who's already an aficionado, and then they can sort of break down what they think is happening.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
go, I'm sorry.
Well, there's just like so many things like to think about and say. I think too, because Nathan and I went to school for music, and like you said, the casual listener versus, let's say, a listener who is a more experienced musician, a guitar player out there, or a piano player, or songwriter. It's when you listen to it, it's like accessible in some ways, but also it is accessible to the more experienced musician who could listen to like the songwriting and the nuances and be like, oh yeah, there's some like cool things in there. And I also really like your compliment about noticing that every song feels kind of different from the last. There's no duplicates. You didn't say the word duplicates, but I thought that was very flattering, because when we're writing the album, I sit down and ask everybody, okay, so what do we want this song to feel like? What kind of vibe, tempo, different key, different style riff, because I don't want to do duplicates. So I try really hard to make every song as separated from each other for more variety, because I love variety. So
Well, you certainly did that. I mean, there are a lot of things that I could recognize that I don't have the vocabulary to articulate, in terms of some of the music, the complexity of the music, for example. But I could sort of recognize, like, oh, they're doing something here that's sophisticated, that a musician with a better vocabulary would be able to pick up on. But it also felt like a casual listener could pick it up and really enjoy the album, and not necessarily need to know the various histories of all these other bands, or the influence they may have had on you.
yeah,
But
well,
it's yeah, no, I
become
mean you
widespread as possible. Get as many people liking it, experienced or not experienced musicians. The more people who can like it, the better. Accessible by everybody.
Yeah, well, and it's funny that you mentioned that your sort of background was more of an American metal type thing, because I was able to pick up on that, but I wasn't quite sure. It's just nice to have confirmation. Plus, you're wearing the GNR sweater right now, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's great, because you can. It's always it's always interesting for me to speak to musicians later and find out, like, okay, well, was I right with my hunch that this may have been an influence? Or even most of the time, a lot of the time, it's bands I wasn't aware of, or wouldn't have thought of. When people say, oh, no, I usually, this is an influence, or this is the music that I was listening to a lot at the time. But what's great is just, again, how I know I keep hammering this point home, how it's accessible to everyone. There's a lot going on, but everyone can sort of have a chance to enjoy it. So
Well, thank you. That's a really big compliment, right?
good. Yeah, no, I'm glad I'm glad I was able to tell you. So I know the album has been out for a few days. Are you guys going to be playing gigs anytime soon to promote it, or is that sort of on the horizon, maybe?
Yeah, we would like to. It's as the world's, of course, been opening back up. High level, low level. type bands. Everyone's getting out, and we've been going to shows. We went to a local show even Friday night on a release day. We were hanging out with some of our other friends who had a show, and that's the plan for the new year, to play some shows. Obviously, right now in Ontario, Canada, we just hit some more lockdowns that started today. So, so playing shows might be tricky for a couple of weeks, but in a few short months, we're looking to join our friends again and
Good.
going and supporting live music as a guest and also as a performer as well. So
Cool.
we hope for the best, right?
So yeah, so I know you guys are you all the band is in Ontario? Pretty
Yes, yes. We're all roughly around the outskirts of Toronto of some sort.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. It's great. I'm glad I've been glad that a lot of bands have been able to get back on stage. They've taken the time to sort of write new work or promote work while they can during the lockdown, but it'll be nice once it opens back up again. And
No, I agree. Everybody loves live music, supporting live music, and even just going out Friday to my friend's gig was really cool. Going to, there's a band called Ice Nine Kills, and saw them a few weeks ago, and it was really cool. It's just great to be back out again. I don't know if you've been to many shows since the pandemic started yourself.
not so much. What's been great is that we've used the platform to help bands live stream when things have been locked down. So
Yeah.
I've been more focused on that end of it. I haven't really. I think the last show I went and saw was before the pandemic. So this is probably December maybe of 2019. So it's been 2 years. So I'm due to get back out there again.
I know. Everybody's excited and eager, which is really cool and really fun to see.
Yeah,
So,
I feel like the floodgates are going to open, once they can. And it's great, it's great that there's so many albums that have come out or are coming out within the next couple of months, and live shows are coming back, and people will get a chance to satiate their need to hear good music. But it'll be great to be able to play these. I don't know if you've had a chance to play these songs in front of a crowd yet.
Yeah, before pandemic, we would play. We kind of we were playing a lot of cover songs, some cover shows, and a lot of these songs were written before the pandemic, and we got the chance to play a few of them and jam on it together, even just in the basement. So it's pretty cool.
Good.
And we're excited to continue playing them. And
Yeah.
now that we're actually out in the world, it's people actually might know a song when they hear it because it's on the internet. So we're excited.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm glad you're finally. I had a chance to play these songs live, but it'll be glad. I'm glad now that the album has been released. That it'll
So are we.
in an official capacity.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. Yeah, check out Age of Athena. I know you guys are on all the social media platforms. The album is called Gate to Oblivion. You can find it probably streaming on any site. I know it's on Bandcamp. And and Age of Athena from Toronto, or the Toronto area in Ontario. So it's been great. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. And,
well, thanks so much, Andrew. It's been great. Right?
Yeah, good luck with everything. I'll put this out tomorrow.
Great. Perfect.
You got it. Have a good one. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Sure.